right, now that we've gone through the basic keys and functionality of your financial calculator, let's get into some basic calculations. The most basic calculation we're going to start with is capitalization of a number. So we have a scenario where a client, Marlene Arnold, tells you she wants to receive $6,000 per year from her investment funds. Using the income only and assuming an annual return of 7%, how much must Marlene build up in her funds to provide this level of income? So on your financial calculator, this is a very simple calculation. Marlene wants $6,000 in income, and she thinks she can earn 7% per year. So all we're going to do to capitalize this number is enter $6,000 divided by 7%, which is 0.07, and we should get $85,714.29. Next, we're going to do a future value calculation. In this scenario, we have George Miller putting $12,000 into an investment account. It's going to be earning 10% per year. It's going to be annual compounding. And he wants to know how much the investment will be worth at the end of 6 years. So, in this scenario, we know that our present value, $12,000, that's our beginning value. We know the number of compounding periods is 6, right, because we have 6 years. We're earning 10% per year. There is no payment involved, and we want to know what this money is going to grow to at the end of that 6 years. Now, before we go into this calculation, we want to make sure, like we do with every calculation, of two things. First, we want to make sure that we are set on end mode, because the problem does not say anything about a payment occurring at the beginning of the period. And we want to make sure we have our number of compounding periods correct. Now, the problem told us that we have annual compounding. The way we enter that is the number 1, our downshift key, and then the P/YR under the payment key. To confirm this, you can hit downshift and then the clear all function, and you should see 1P-YR flash on the screen. Now, to enter these, and you can do these in any order, okay? There's no required order of information, but we're going to start with the number of compounding periods. Okay, we know we have 6 years. We're going to hit our downshift and then our N, and we'll see the number 6 flash. So again, here's the distinction between the two. Then we're going to enter 10 and our interest per year. Again, the I/YR is always going to be used for the current interest rate. Our present value, we're going to put 12,000. Then we have to do the change sign, and I will get to that in just a moment, and the present value. Now, the reason we put this 12,000 as a negative is imagine it as a cash flow. If the client is making this investment, the cash is going out of his pocket into the investment. So therefore, it is a debit to cash in his pocket or cash in his checking account. Okay? With these time value money calculations, when it comes to present value versus future value, one is always a positive, one is always a negative. When there are no cash flows, you can get away with accidentally entering both as positive or negative. But when cash flows come into play, if you enter both as positive or both as negative, you get a no solution error. Okay? So we've changed our $12,000 to a negative. There is no payment. So if we hit our future value key, we should get our answer of $21,258.73. All right, in this scenario, Andrea Lee expects to receive $80,000 from a trust in 4 years. What is the current value of this fund if it is discounted at 9%, compounded semi-annually? Now, the first clue that we were given in the problem is that that's semi-annual compounding. Okay? So we're going to have to set our calculator for 2 compounding periods per year. So we enter the number 2, the downshift, and the second function of compounding periods per year. Then we do our downshift and clear all, and we should see a flash of 2, P-YR. Okay? Once we have that done, we can start entering the information for our problem. So we know that the money is going to be received 4 years from now, But because we're compounding semi-annually, now we're going to go 4, downshift, and then the N key, right? And this is actually the times compounding periods per year is the second function. And you'll see the number 8 flash. All the calculator's doing is taking the 4 years, multiplying it by the 2 compounding periods per year, and entering 8 as our number of compounding periods. Then we enter 9, I/YR, because she thinks she can get 9% per year. We're going to not have any payment, and the present value is what we're solving for. $80,000 is the future value, so 80,000 future value. Hit our present value key to solve for present value, and we should get $56,254.81. All right, now that we've done a present value and future value calculation, we're going to move on to calculating the length of time or number of compounding periods. In this scenario, Linda Collins purchased a small farm for $75,000 last week. She estimates the property will appreciate at an average annual compound rate of 10%. Apparently it's good to be in farms. Linda's goal is to eventually sell the farm for $120,000. Approximately how many years must she wait to achieve this goal? All right, so reviewing our fact set, we have Linda purchasing the farm for $75,000 today. She thinks it'll grow at 10% per year, and she wants it to grow to $120,000 and wants to know how long it'll take her to get there. Now, the problem did not say anything about semi-annual compounding, so it's safe to assume that you have annual compounding on this 10% growth. So the first thing we want to do is hit downshift and then clear all to see if you have your 1 compounding period per year. If not, we're going to enter 1, the downshift, and then the P/YR key. Then you can hit your downshift clear all to confirm that you've got that set. Once that's done, we can enter our information. We have a, pardon me, we don't need the percentage sign, just the number 10 and the interest per year. We know that it's $75,000 Linda spent today. Again, remember to make this a negative for present value because we're treating it as a cash outflow from her pocket to purchase the farm. The future value that she wants to sell at is $120,000. So that's a positive because we imagine the sale and cash coming back to her. We have no payments in between to contend with. So now we hit our N key and we should get 4.93 years for the farm to grow from $75,000 to $120,000. Next, we're going to run a calculation to determine the rate of growth that's necessary. In this scenario, we have Martin Jones investing $5,000 in a municipal bond fund. In 4 years, when Martin plans to redeem his shares, he expects to receive $7,000. If interest is paid on the fund annually, and remember this is a red flag, watch for that annual compounding, what is the average annual compound rate of return on Martin's investment? So, if we review our fact set, he has put in $5,000 into the fund today. In 4 years, he expects it to grow to $7,000. Okay. On a muni bond fund these days, that's a little unrealistic, but we'll use this for our calculation anyway. There's no payment to be contended with, and we have annual compounding. Okay, so we're going to have 4 compounding periods. So the keystrokes for this calculation are going to be $5,000, the change sign key because it's an outflow, it's present value. We have $7,000 is our future value. We have 4, and then just because we're going to stay in a good habit, downshift N, and we should see 4 and then P/YR flash on the screen, telling us we have 4 compounding periods. Now, we just solve for our interest per year, and we should get 8.78%. So for Martin, he needs to earn a little over 8.75% in order for that $5,000 to grow to $7,000 in the 4-year period. Now we're going to do our final basic calculation, which is solving for the amount of a payment. So in our next scenario, we have Glenn Nelson wants to purchase a car in 3 years for $9,000. What periodic payment should he invest at the beginning of each month to attain his goal if he can earn 12% compounded monthly? All right, so just a quick review of our fact set. We have a client who wants to accumulate $9,000 in 3 years, thinks he can earn 12% per year on his money, and wants to know what monthly payment do I have to make in order to accumulate this $9,000. So going back to the beginning of the problem, in the fact set, we had two important pieces of information. The first is we need to set our calculator to begin mode. So we'll hit the downshift and then the BEG/end key. And you should see now the letters BEG on your display, or begin, depending on which model you have. The next thing we have to do is set it to monthly compounding. So we're going to enter 12, downshift key, compounding periods per year. We can double check this, right, by hitting our downshift, clear all, and we should see 12P/YR flash on the screen. Now that we've got those important pieces of information in, we can enter the rest of the problem. So we take our 3 years, the downshift key, and then the second function of the end key, which is the *P/YR. You should see the number 36 flash, because again, the calculator is taking the 3 years times the 12 compounding periods per year to give us a total compounding period number of 36. Next, we can enter the 12% interest per year that he thinks he can earn. Then we enter the $9,000 future value that we're trying to get through. We don't have any present value to start with. We're solving for the payment. So when we hit our payment key, we should come up with $206.86. That will be the monthly amount he needs to save to get to $9,000 in 3 years. Congratulations. You finished the beginning level calculations and survived. Hopefully by now you've gotten a lot more comfortable with your financial calculator and entering the functions. So we are now going to move on to the intermediate level calculations.